Hey, what's up guys? Kyle here, welcome back to the channel. Last video, we worked on all of this Versetta stone that goes around the entire building. This is a 45 by 80 structure. We have a 36-inch wainscot, and Greg and I did all of that material in just over a day and a half. Versetta stone installs super easy, so if you're more curious about that, check out that video. But we're now on to the wainscot cap. You'll see behind me, we started way down there in that corner and we just did this 80-foot run, probably in about 25 minutes worth of time. But now we're to the corner. Corners are a little bit trickier just because the stone is not, it's like not perfect. It's really hard to get a nice tight miter. So we're probably not gonna get perfect miters on everything. You're gonna develop some cracks, but I'm gonna show you how we take care of that here in a little bit. And the other problem is when you have a corner to a corner, what are the odds that you're gonna get all of these pieces to be perfect, to make it around, to have fulls everywhere? It just doesn't happen. So this is how we address it. And I'll just kind of show that right away. We cut a couple pieces down, and my thought process is this over here is where everybody's gonna be walking up. I got a door right here. So we've got a factory finish that is on the left side, cut the right side, and then another factory finish so that all my cuts are away. Pretty simple thing to start with, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get this all fastened. Should I make this a little looser? It's pretty tight.
I mean,
but it's in there now.
But it's in there now, and I mean, if it's in there and you like it,
I don't know.
Just run with it.
Yeah. The other thing, guys, is we're looking for as close to perfect as possible with this top line because it's a visual thing. So that's our main goal, is that when you look down at it, you're like, yeah, that looks pretty good. Is it perfect? No, because this is not perfect. The face is not perfect. The depths, they are not perfectly the same. This is not a perfect product. It's a stone. So as long as it looks close, we just take our 78-inch Stabila.
78, yep.
And just make sure that it stays pretty darn level.
You just took a photo.
I just took a photo. They already know though. You only live once.
That's the motto.
That's the motto that we, yeah. Anyway, so we just use our straight edge just to make sure that over the course of multiple pieces, it stays pretty consistent. When we get later on in the video, we're gonna be doing a piece of flashing, and that is where we will really concentrate on being perfect. So let's go ahead and get this corner, and I'll show you how we're gonna make this all, like this whole corner. You see all these rough cut edges? Those are gonna disappear here very quickly. All right guys, so this corner, here's my piece. And when I put it in here, it's not perfect. It opens up a little bit. It's because it's really hard to cut these on a tile or a tile stone saw. These are my cut edges here that die into my factory corners. You can see the kind of lighter colored aggregate. You can see it here, all up this corner. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be using this right here. Morflex. This is a Sashco product. It has built-in grit. This is the charcoal. It's basically big stretch made for masonry. So this is what I'm gonna use, and just watch how good this looks, in my opinion, after we're all done. So first thing I'm gonna do is get myself a nice bead here. Okay. Oh, we need a little more. There, now we step back, and honestly, the stuff just matches so nicely. We don't have to be perfect. We're just looking to fill that gap and then take away those cut edges. And this charcoal color matches the northern ash like so perfectly that, I mean, when you step back, now that looks like a nice corner. We don't see any exposed cut edges. What do you guys think? Morflex. In fact, if you guys want to try Morflex, I actually have a link, and I'll put it down in the description, where you can get a free sample kit of all the Sashco products. Big Stretch, Lexel, Through the Roof, Morflex. I even think they're giving an exact color sample as well, which is where you can put any tinted color in your caulk sealant and then use it as a color matched sealant. Pretty awesome stuff, no cost to you. If you haven't already done that and gotten your sample kit, why not take advantage of that? It's a great product. So yeah, Morflex, that's what we're gonna do whenever we experience a cut edge that just doesn't look amazing. Right here along this edge when we do our trims, that'll all be Morflex. So this right here, this bright color, that'll all go away and it'll look like a nice finished edge. So anyway, it's not like a sponsored segment. This stuff is great and it works. And I just wanted to show you how we're gonna make that look super nice. All right, so whenever we're starting with the capstone, I always try to start in a corner, and that obviously I think makes sense because that's where the hardest cut is. And from there, you're just gonna go to, in this case, a doorway, which has a straight cut at the end, very easy to measure and place. So the next thing I'm gonna think about coming out of the corner is, okay, where I make my miter, because what I really wanna do, I consider this kind of like a grain match on like a waterfall edge of, you know, when you got the same board continuing, I want the same piece of stone continuing around my miter, because if I don't, then they're gonna probably look really off. So when I'm setting this up, I'm gonna think about, okay, where I make this miter is gonna determine where my joint is gonna be going down this whole wall. Now, at the other end, I need to make sure that I have about 10 inches past the joint. These are all like 3 feet. So it's very easy to say, okay, if I start here and I'm about 8 inches behind this joint on this next piece, I'm gonna be about 8 inches by the time I get down there, give or take. So what I gotta do is I wanna be 10 inches past this joint with a full. Okay? So right here is gonna be a full, which means when I put this here, I'm gonna want my miter to be something like right here will be the inside. And then when I come around the edge, what's gonna happen is this is going to miter out, and then I'm gonna do another miter like this, that hopefully being this point will come together and look as consistent as possible. So when I do that, and this goes right here, I'll be able to very easily fill in this little section with a piece. I have no joints here to worry about. So let's go ahead and cut this. It's not easy, but we're gonna do the best we can. And as you saw, we can always use some Morflex to make it look a little bit better. Let's see, so I cut myself a board, and hopefully it sits right inside here so I can support this on level. Otherwise, it kind of rocks forward. So the first piece, and the reason I always come out of a corner is because we don't have to be as precise. We're just looking to cut it in general where we want it. And this saw has all these lines, so I can very easily kind of line them up, use them as my 45 degree. Once again, this is not going to be perfect, but it gets us really close. Something like that. And there. Yeah, we're gonna just make sure it's as close as possible to 45. And then we'll go ahead and cut this. All right, then what we're going to do is cut this one the exact opposite way. We want to get as close to this miter as possible, or this point with where our saw blade is going to go. That's probably good right there. All right, we'll see how we did. So now, the hope is that the kind of profile of the stone just wraps right around and we don't have any weird, like large stick outs on one side or the other. So let's hope it goes pretty good. So now we just kind of play with it till we like where it's probably about as good as it's going to get. Make sure that when we fasten it, it's going to be pretty good. And before we actually fasten it, we're going to put another full next to it, and we're going to make sure that it kind of levels out and is in a good plane. And then we'll bring the Morflex in and make this joint disappear for the most part. Here's what we're going to do, buddy. Let's temporarily place a nail here. I'm going to hold it. You hit a nail. We're going to run a couple out. We're going to temporarily install them and make sure that we can get out of this corner as straight as possible. We're going to be putting that flashing over top of it, and the flashing is going to be perfectly straight. We just need this to look good.
It'll cover everything.
Yes. Just to hold that on. We don't need this right now. Let's go ahead and run a couple out. We'll see what we get with the, hey.
Whoa, what's the deal there, dog?
Never finished that bad boy. Okay, let's run a couple out. All right, now, where are we at there?
I mean,
bro, I ain't got no problem with that. The only problem is it's low
this joint needs to come
right
up
here. So all we do is we just gonna see what happens to the level if we push up. You notice how I can't really go any further without moving the level up? That's because sometimes these have slight bump or humps in them. They're not perfectly straight. So what we're going to do is over the course of multiple pieces, we're trying to make sure that the level stays straight, just so we know that we're in the ballpark. And what happens in the middles, we don't really care about. Our trim that we put on this is gonna really make this look good. So here, just hold that for a second. Let me nail this end, and then we'll kind of snug up your middle joint.
Yep.
And then that is what it is.
Oh, you must be out. No.
So what I wanted to show you guys about this piece, I'm just joking, that totally fell. It's okay though, it's gonna be okay. That one's on me. I thought it would stay there, and it clearly didn't. It did not. We're just gonna do a little, it's a pain to hand nail these, just because, I don't know, I just find it to be kind of a pain when you have this nice nailer. Man, that wind, it's freaking windy. It's gonna be windy for the next couple days. Fortunately, this video might have a little bit of wind noise in the mic, guys. We got the fuzzy, we're gonna do the best we can. I'm not gonna stop for a little bit of wind. We just gotta keep moving. Okay, corner time. It's really not bad, man. It's not bad, but I'm okay with a little bit of joint, because we'll just take this, we'll fill it up here. That way when I put this guy on, we're just gonna let it kind of cream out. Oh, we didn't even cream out that much. We want it to cream out a little bit.
What?
You heard me. So, oh, that kind of came out a little bit. Oh, Greg,
what?
I need a
Clamp?
Not a clamp. I need a screw. This thing wants to fold. See that?
Yeah, I see that.
We just need to keep that tight for now.
Give me 2 seconds.
You know what? No. We don't need to keep it under stress. We can just take a little bit more Morflex here and just fill this in a little bit. It's gonna be fine. Okay. Just do the old finger roll, kind of take what you don't want in there out. Kind of fill that in there. We just kind of take your finger and just rough it up a little bit so it's not too perfect. We'll just leave that for right now. We can clean it up a little bit as it starts to harden, but by the time I put my metal trim over top of this, which is going to come out to probably about here, I think that's pretty good. It's good enough for me. It's good enough for the girls I run with. So now that we got the corner done, that's the hard part. We'll just run them all the way to the door. Yeah. We're not looking for perfect, buddy.
No, stone is not perfect. I think that's the perfect part about stone is that it's imperfect.
Well, it allows us to be sloppy, you know? I love using like rustic barn wood and stuff because shoot.
A little higher on your side.
I didn't like this one. I set it in and I didn't like it. You know, when you get to use like rustic materials, you're like, yeah, it's, you know, it's not gonna look perfect. It's not a perfect product, but really it's just...
Wait. Let me get, you got some chunks on your end. Nice.
Oh, dude. This one feels like it's right.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Heck yeah. It's not perfect.
No, you're right.
Yeah. You can't throw that
It's
out.
where it needs to be.
Look at that. Boom. Our last piece will cut to fit right there and hope, because this is a little bit risky, Greg. The piece that we choose and cut has to be the right piece.
I mean, the good thing is it's going to be next to a full piece, like near a full piece big. So.
Oh, so we can always use it somewhere else.
Use it somewhere else, yeah.
All right, we'll just go ahead and risk it for the biscuit. We'll use that piece and cut her to fit 34 1/16. So another thing that we consider, because this sticks out so far, even though I'm cutting here, I actually cut the left side so that I still had a nice finished edge. Ooh, I think we're gonna get lucky. Just because I can do the Morflex and cover this up, I don't wanna have to do this huge chunk that's right here. So I leave the raw natural cut there. And then Greg, let's just double check.
Level.
Yeah, let's just double check this bad boy. Throw it across there. Make sure we're nothing crazy. Yeah, I like it.
We're a little low.
Yeah, I like
a lot of low.
Wait, what?
But we could be on a hump.
No, it's a hump, dude. Here, let me hit this. We're perfect over here. And then if you say I'm low,
I mean, I would eyeball it.
I'm gonna eyeball it and I like it. So, end of the day, that's what's important. Okay, we got all this capstone now from the garage door in the front all the way around to the other corner. So I think we got a little bit to do to the other garage door, and then we're going to transition, guys, up to the front of the building where the harder details are. This was like the easiest stuff just to run out real quick, but we've got to do the capstone underneath our windows, but we need to have window trims in order to know exactly where that's going to go. So there's a lot more, in my opinion, there's a lot more effort to make things work out. So after we finish this little section over there, that's what we'll move into. I know over the course of these Versetta videos, I've kind of ragged on this gun because I've had a hard time getting it to work. But if I take my time and I do it, let's see in this whole run, I'm gonna hit like every one. Wow, there's one miss. I thought that was going to be a miss there. So what? I think I had one miss, and I think it was honestly my fault because I hit the tip. So this gun is pretty amazing for what it is. It's the only coil roofing nailer on the market that's cordless, which good for Dewalt. Even though I hate this spool up, like I don't like that, it does work pretty well. So I got to give it to Dewalt. At least they came to market with something. Everybody else, I don't know what they're waiting on.
They're scared.
Scared maybe, I don't know, dude. You know, I don't like it, but we're gonna put a temp nail and we're gonna run with it for now. See what happens. I think it's the humps in these pieces that get me. They just are not perfectly straight. There's just a high spot in every middle, it seems. 12 3/8. Let's look at that. Hardly any waste. That's the kind of life I like to live. You know what I'm excited for?
What's that?
I'm excited for these garage doors to go in.
Yeah, me too. They're gonna change everything.
Everything is gonna change in a matter of
It'll never be the same. Never be the same again.
All right, well, now it's time to move to this corner. Last corner, and we're gonna be diving into window trims, as well as we gotta do, no, this is not gonna be hard, man. We need to get our window trim out here. We'll set it on because we really only care about width.
We're just gonna use it as a template, right?
We're using it as a template for width to cut our piece because we'll come back and install it later after we've flashed everything. All right, guys, so this is where we have a little bit of details to consider, and a little bit more effort's gonna go into these caps, because these caps here are gonna be underneath my window like so. Greg, go ahead and throw that up there. This is a pre-made window trim assembly that we did, and it's just, I just made this so that I could get this done, but we've got a ton more windows, so we'll get into that later. What I need to be able to do is take my simple cider, give myself the proper spacing over here. Then what I can do is line up my stone to the edge of my trim, plus we need to stay away from this edge with our stone. We can't be tight to the wood. So we're gonna stay away from that another 3/8 I believe we have to do. So what I'm going to do is make a mark where my trim is on this side. You got that, Greg? Just hold it tight. You know, as long as you're there, you should be.
Yep.
You should be good. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing over here. Just making a simple line, using this as our guide, so we know exactly where this is going to be in the future when we install it. But this trim won't get installed until after our board and batten is installed on the wall. So it's kind of like we have to move through these processes to get back to the point of installing the trim, but all this other stuff has to be right where it needs to be in order for that to go on good. So Greg, you can pull the trim.
You got the stone?
I got the stone. Yep, so now what we're going to do is get this corner piece that I just kind of temporarily put up here. I can now set it back where I like it. Use the mark that's underneath here, which I should have made just a little bit taller, to get a measurement where to cut this piece. So it's going to be something like this. Then Greg and I can install our caps underneath the window to the other side, and we'll keep going down the way. So we've got 4 windows that we have to do this to. It's really not a hard detail. The biggest problem I have, and I just remembered this, Greg, because we dealt with this on the last job. Do you remember?
Is it the spacing off the window for the batten, or?
It's the taping. So we're going to want a piece of metal flashing here to get the water over, and then we want to tape that back to the wall. But this needs to stay open.
Right. Yep, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yep.
So we just need to remember to not put a huge piece of flashing going up the wall so that we can tape it back, but not cover this flange. All right, so in thinking this, I don't have to lay my trims up here on all these. I actually could just put my stone up and mark 4 inches, because 4 inches is the distance I need to be away from my window. I need 3/16 of an inch, or I'm actually only doing 1/8 of an inch. Now, LP is going to say that this needs to be a 3/16 gap, and you should follow their guidelines if you want, warranty. I know after using this product so much that especially on these small pieces of trim, like I'm not using a 16-footer and I'm not using a very wide piece of trim, I'm not gonna have that kind of expansion. I do, however, wanna make sure that I'm 3/8 of an inch away from the edge of my stone. So I've got a 3.5 inch trim. I've got an 1/8 inch gap, which is my square. I just go ahead and use my square. I know in almost all instances, this is gonna be sufficient unless you're dealing with long pieces of trim that are butting next to each other. I'm not doing that. But then I am gonna make sure I have 3/8 of an inch between the stone and the siding. That'll get back a rod, that'll get a sealant, a caulk there. We'll use the Flex. It's very flexible, so it'll be great. But we do not wanna have it super close to our smart side. So I'm gonna go 4 inches. That's where I'm gonna cut this, and that should be perfect for me. So I'm gonna go cut it. I'll be right back. Man, look at that. It's perfect right down my joint. Oh, it's a great spot. It's a great cut, Greg. All right, so I got my piece cut. You can see my initial line from my trim. Now I'm 3/8 away from that with my other line. So this piece is where we're going to keep it. I do want to make sure that I'm probably sitting on here. These little short pieces can sometimes get a little off. So it's always kind of best to make sure that you're running quite level. And then what we'll be able to do is take a piece of this capstone and just butt it right in. And this should be right where our trims are gonna die down, and then this little gap right here. This is where we'll put our backer rod and our Morflex, and that'll get, you know, sealed up next to our trim.
Might as well hit that all down there.
I'll do that later. I like it. All right, so that's all done. Now we get the fun part. We saved the best for last, and that is through here, which honestly is not even gonna be that hard. It's easy. It's easy. So easy. A couple post framers could do it. Whoa! It is really getting windy out. We got some severe storms potentially coming in, so we're gonna try to get through this before that happens. And we're gonna take these guys. We'll always have to do 2 fulls and a part, so we're gonna look for parts that go together nice like that. That is pretty lucky. Okay. But it does look to be smaller than this side, so we'll have a cut side buried and the factory will overhang, I think, just a little bit. Yeah, okay, let's do that. So, oh, we took that trim in there, didn't we? That's all right. I think now it makes sense, and I think it probably did before. This will now get flashed with some aluminum, and then our window trim will sit right in here, keeping our nice clearances away from all of our stone. Man, it is windy. Ooh, what are we gonna do here? So this is a dilemma. Do I waste 2 cutoffs so that I can get factory outside edges? Or do I run a full and just cut one side and let the other side be a cut edge? I already know what I'm gonna do. I am not gonna run a cut edge on the outside. I'm gonna do factory. So this is where we will burn up some of our scrap pieces if we can. So we're just gonna burn up a scrap piece here to start. Then we'll cut another. And actually, you know what, that's not a bad thing. It'll give us a piece to start with under our window, because all the window pieces have to be either 2 fulls and a little piece, or we got to stretch out a little bit bigger piece to start, a full, and then a cut. So there's really no way around that. You know, I just end up with a bunch of small pieces, so might as well burn them up here. We're getting somewhere. That's unfortunate. I don't think I can use this one here. You know what? I'm okay with that. Good thing Versetta Stone is very super durable. It's quite remarkable how well it holds up, even during drops. It's a good product. I just want to show you guys the durability of that. It's definitely not on purpose. Ooh, that's snug. All right, last section. This is the last one. As long as I don't mess up this one, I'll be okay. Okay, oh yeah, we are done over there. That finalizes the cap, and I think just for me and for you guys, Greg went ahead and brought out a trim just to get an idea. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So we made these trims and we never double checked anything. So we came out and we test fit it and we're like, oh crap, we have the dimension off just a hair, so this bottom piece I have to redo. But the point is, so you guys can see this, and I want to see it, this is going to be up like so, a little higher. Hard for me to do myself.
I'm coming.
No, you're good, you're good. Go ahead and go up, Greg, like an 1/8 off the bottom.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, something like that. So the goal is for this trim to be spaced here. We'll have our flashing going up the stone and then up the wall. That'll allow all this water to make its way over. We'll have our gap here that's necessary. We'll go ahead and put our Morflex in here. That's gonna look good. And it's actually gonna be out a little bit further because it'll be on top of our board and batten.
Yep.
That's the stone wainscot caps. We're now done with Versetta. We just need to do the detail of the trim, and that metal trim is gonna come up next here in this video. We're gonna probably, I need to go get my metal brake. And I actually have a big surprise coming later this week, and it involves a metal brake, but we're gonna save that for a later time. We're gonna now transition into getting all of our wainscot flashing trims done, and that'll wrap up this video and wrap up this whole detail, and we'll be ready for our smart side siding. So let's get right into it. All right, now that we've got all that capstone up, we're gonna do our flashing trim. So we don't want water, now we're under a porch here, so you're not gonna see that, but we don't want water coming down our wall and making it behind the stone as much as possible. So we've bent a piece of aluminum. It's going to cap this stone, and this piece of trim, we want this line as straight as possible, okay, as level as possible, because we're gonna also use this to set our siding up in the future. So Greg is getting the laser out, and hopefully, since we used a level, since we did the best we can, our goal is gonna be to set this laser so that we can just kind of look right at,
Let me go up a little bit.
yeah, go up a little bit, buddy.
All right.
So we can look right where that laser is hitting this line, and we can just nail it, ensuring that we are gonna be the same elevation across the whole building. Is this necessary? Probably not. We could snap a line and just look at the line and nail it. However, you know,
We like to be perfect.
we like to be as perfect as possible. It'll make our job easier down the road if there's no waves, and it'll look better. So let's get this laser set up, and we'll see how this goes.
I'm gonna go grab my snips. Do you want a
Actually,
stapler
yeah.
or anything?
Benders,
Benders.
my blues
Blues.
and my greens. I'm gonna cut myself a small piece just so I can real quickly go around and make sure that we're not too high. I hope this is the right move using black. I don't know. I think it is the right move, but I really didn't want to use like a light color, even though my siding is kind of light. Yeah, I think this is gonna work. Some of these ends get a little overbent. Let's see, I can see my laser. Yeah, that's gonna be good. I might go a little lower. Man, it's right there. I can make it work. I want it nice and snug. As long as we're pushed in there and flat when we nail it, we know when our siding comes on, it's gonna flatten it back.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to make sure we don't have any high spots somewhere.
That's the high spot right there.
Right there?
Right there. Yep. So if
Okay.
it works there, we're good everywhere else.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do on all of our ends is we're going to do an end dam, and all that is, we don't want the water running down the wall, getting on the flashing, and just running right behind it. We want to force it out over the stone as much as possible. So we're always going to do a 3/8 inch end dam. And the reason we do 3/8 is because our siding is always going to be 3/8 off of our flashing. So you're going to see, let me think about this. How do I want to do this so that I can not see it? Well, I've done this enough now that I know I get a problem when I, wait, I'm gonna use my red. When I get done and I look up and I'm like, oh man, I can see that color there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna snip to there. I'm gonna need to sharpen the old pencil. Go ahead and hold that flush on that side, big dog.
Mm-hmm.
Where you like it?
Right there. Do you want the face, like this face here, flush, or do you want the hem flush?
I don't want any stones showing.
Okay.
So,
yep.
that makes sense?
So the hem is a little bit past.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's fine if it's a little bit past.
Yeah.
It's like I'm cutting paper after cutting 26 gauge, you know, Greg?
Yeah.
So I'm just cutting until I feel this get cut out. That's all I'm looking to do. Tore a little bit, but it's all good. Okay. And I'm doing that little turnaround so that when I look at this from the end, I won't see any white showing through. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing good. You're doing good. All right, next one.
How's that look? Is that better?
Looks really good, dude.
No, look at it.
I did.
No, look at it.
I did.
Is that better?
It's better. It's better.
You've had your back towards me this entire time.
Nope, I watched it. It's
What kind of friend are you turning your back on me?
It's much better, dude.
So how does it look though?
No, it looks good.
Yeah.
It's better than the last one. I think you should keep
that.
doing it and keep getting practice.
You can't even see it because it actually looks awful.
Ooh. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. All right, with this mitered corner, we just moved the laser around, and I need to first run a piece this way because I want this side underneath and I want my overlap to come from this side. So all I'm going to do is just extend this out to my miter point, go a little bit further. I can always cut it off, I can't grow it back. All right. And then this piece is going to come on top. I just want to verify where the miter is going to be. I'll take this a little. Just let it go a little. There you go. Just a little bend. We don't need much. It's pretty darn good.
That's all we're looking for.
Yeah. Pretty darn good.
Yep.
So I never go exactly to this corner that I've marked. I'm gonna leave it just a little bit long. You won't know that that's not a perfect 45. And hopefully we need to get this piece closed in. Might not go in anymore. Okay. That looks good. That looks good. This might have to be cut more. There, I mean, it's, it's just, do your best. It's not, I wouldn't say that's perfect. I don't like these miters to be a perfect 45 because this can open up just a hair. And when we put our siding in our outside corner, over it, you won't see any of this anyway. So the important thing is just that it's a nice clean corner and our miters match up here. That's kind of the most important. So we'll go ahead and tape this and we'll keep running this out. This is our first lap right here.
Yep.
And unfortunately, a full piece, about 4 inches short from making the corner. That sucks. Let's put in a longer scrap that we have, maybe. I don't like doing, you know what does it matter if it's 4 inches, Greg? 4 inches or 2 feet, it's still a joint.
It's a joint, a joint's a joint.
Let's not waste, right? So because once again, we're coming from this way mainly, I'm gonna want this joint to overlap the left side. Since I've already ran the right side, all I'm going to do is give myself a little bit of a notch down, about, 2 inches or something. And I'll take out this hem. And then the goal here is that this will slide right in here. Now, the only problem I have is that we didn't put any sealant here, so I need to go get my sealant just to create a break in the capillary action so we don't get water siphoning. It's gonna come down this wall, maybe wind-driven rain, and we don't want it to be going in there. So let me go grab my through the wall, through the roof, and we'll get that done real quick.
It's not the same color.
It's not black, is it?
Ugh.
I mean, it's big stretch black, but it's not.
I would say it's more close to this color.
I would say so too. We could probably just caulk all the joints with this stuff and.
Yeah, call it good.
Okay, go ahead. All right, let's hit that nail back in there.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay, let's get that laser set up and we'll move to our windows. So with this detail on the windows, the only thing that we're gonna do a little bit different is we don't wanna just tape up and cover this flange. So we really only wanna tape a little bit onto this, what is this? Is this the Razan 430 or something? Is that about where you started yours with your nice knife? Oh, come on, man. Yeah, you're gonna need a new knife blade, buddy. Your tip must be a little dull. We just went ahead and cut down some Fentrum just because we like it so much that we know even with a little bit of adhesion, we're probably gonna stick pretty well. And it's an outdoor rated tape, so I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but that's what we did. I don't even think there's water gonna be coming out of these windows, but all the greats, the builders, they all say you gotta have drainage for your windows. So I guess that's what we're doing. All right, guys, that caps off literally the Versetta Stone. We've got it all done, the wainscot cap on, we got our cap trim on, it's taped off, and that means we're ready for smart side siding. So if you guys wanna really see this thing take shape, I've really enjoyed the blue, but I can't wait to cover it up, get the finishes on this building, and really see it come together. And if you guys want to do that, make sure you hit the subscribe button, follow along. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And with that, we'll see you guys on the next video.